Yeah.
But yeah, I just remembered one of our teachers, Mr. Grass. He's so called because he kept putting on shows with grass in them. And then the third show, he wasn't doing it on purpose, but the third show we were just joking. We were like, "Oh, does this have grass in it?" And he went quiet for a moment, and he's like, yeah, I think it does."
Yeah, he just suddenly realized what he has been doing now. I was like, wait, really? I
I remember when he talked about like shows that he shows to like his other like class before us, is that apparently like most of the students would kind of like shit on like his taste in like the shows that he puts on. He's like, oh my god, this is garbage, it's garbage. And we were like talking, and we were like looking at the shows like, what, these shows aren't bad, what are they talking about?
I guess we're the only class who had like actually is interested.
Yeah, well, I think the class before us, apparently there was a lot of drama. There was like 12 students in that class or
And
something.
we're
So
still very laid back.
yeah, we were like one of the nicer classes.
It's because it's just a few of us. There's only 5 students.
Yeah.
I think that's
can
why.
we spew out? You know, like, oh, Twilight was talking shit about me behind my back. Ugh, drama.
I don't know. I don't even know.
But I remember it was really awkward because Mr. Grass put on this show, and it had a lot of let's just call it wrestling in it, and it went on for a long time. And he's like, I did not remember this being this bad. This is a lot more intense than I remembered.
That was such an awkward scene. It was so uncomfortable, even for me. And maybe it's because I was literally my chair was closest to the screen. That's why.
Well, it's because it was an HBO show, so I think that was part of it.
I guess I remember what we talked about the HBO shows. Like, apparently they require some sex scenes in there, and when they don't even have to add it. I was like, oh,
made no
so
sense.
it's just there, and we just had to watch.
And it was prolonged. That was the problem.
And it's prolonged. It's like, are they trying to like make a porno or what?
I know, right? It was so awkward.
And I was like, what the fudge? Why?
Yeah, the teacher's just sitting there, so awkward.
Long ass porno. It was just
oh my gosh. And then do you remember? I think it was with Mr. Grass, anyways. So I was like for some reason showing the trailer for one of the horror movies that were coming out. It was the one where it's like the evil Superman boy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Brightburn.
Yeah, Brightburn. And then so we were watching the trailer, and there was a scene where the lady
oh yeah, that
getting glass out of her eye.
Really.
And then I think I don't remember who saw, but like I think it was either Insomnia or Critics saw a person like looking through. She's like looking through our new classrooms. Like it was like, what the heck is happening?
Oh yeah, so we got to talk about like the big move that happened.
Oh yeah, right. Okay,
I think near the end of the year.
I was the one who discovered it, right?
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, right. So
maybe.
It was it was just a normal day for me, and I was just going in because, class. And then as soon as I walked into where our classroom was supposed to be, there was a big giant white tarp that was just blocking me, and I'm like, and I took a picture on the group chat. Yeah, the writer students had their own group chat with each other, so like we can keep tabs on stuff that happens at school. But anyways, so we were like, I was like, this is weird. I don't know if that's what I said, but this is weird. And then everyone like was confused, like, what happened? Like,
what is going on?
And then apparently, the school was going through some financial problems.
Yeah,
we're not going to say what financial problems they were, but it was to the point where they had to like sadly give up a lot of classrooms that were meant for like a lot of the students, not just the writers and stuff. And so so they ended up having to give up our room to become an audition room.
Oh yeah,
they had their own
room
in the school where they had their auditions and stuff, but sadly, our classroom was victim to the fact that it had to be given up for auditions
Yep.
now. And so we ended up moving to their meeting room, which was our new classroom from that day on. And it had its ups and downs.
Yeah,
Mostly downs because of
mostly
the whole fact
downs,
that everyone can see us
apparently.
through the glass
Yeah,
doing
it was
stuff.
really awkward.
It was
So
I
they
mean,
awkward.
were
it's a meeting room, and it turned into a classroom,
and they
and
were
then
supposed to put like supposed to frost the glass, but it took months for them to actually do it, and it was
months
really awkward
people
because like
didn't.
Mr. Grass wanted to put on HBO, and there's like little children coming into the lobby
Oh
right
yeah.
in front of our
Where they could
classrooms.
easily see
Um
the
in
movies we watch,
Yeah,
so
in
that's, like,
Yeah.
contrast
really
to why
risky.
yeah, in contrast
Oh,
to
yeah, I
why there's
also
children
remember.
coming into the school, it's
Yeah.
because the school also held a program for like summer camps for acting and voice acting, and
Mhm.
they did this way before like the school had any like financial problem. This was always a thing. And then there's also like times where kids are also like there for auditions.
Yeah.
Well, not
I
So
just
there's
remember also in the summer,
yeah.
they're the most frequent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there's like little kids everywhere, and Mr. Grass had to change his whole curriculum basically,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
I
his
remember
whole
that,
TV.
one part in the what was it? When we were, like, watching a movie, and he was showing one of those shows, and I was like, "Hey, did you, tell the front desk about the movie or whatever?" And he was like, "Oh, no, I didn't." I had to go and tell them.
No, I don't think I did. I mean, even though when the kids stopped really showing up, usually we still had to worry about who would see
Yeah, we
the
still
whole
had
like
to
stuff
worry
that we
about that.
watched anyways. So yeah, it took us way too long, and it was during I think months before we even were supposed to graduate that they frosted the quote unquote frosted the glass, which
Yeah.
was
Oh, yeah, and then we had to mention it a lot of the times or whatever.
yeah, to, like, finally get, like, "Okay, we
I
need
think
to
until
frost
they were fed
glass."
up with us and like, "Okay."
Yeah, I think Miss Gladiator was,
Was the
she was
most
our
vocal.
voice.
Yeah, she was the most
She was
vocal.
really cool about it. She was our voice to, the headmaster who like, because she was also upset about the whole thing as well.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
it was starting to mess up classes too because the
yeah.
TV had really terrible audio, and then we
Oh, yeah,
lost
I
our
remember.
and then we
I do
lost our
remember.
and then we lost our tech guy, so the teachers were trying to figure the how to fix the TV.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was a
What was
whole
it?
other thing.
Yeah, since we got, like, moved, we had, like, a shittier TV. It was so
Yeah.
bad. I was like, we had a better TV in our old class, and then suddenly, since we had to move, we had to deal with this really shitty one.
Yeah. We were, yeah. And then, for some reason, they had the best idea to change the locks while, we were,
Oh,
having
yeah.
class,
Change the
and
locks? More like we never used the locks.
Oh, and
well,
somebody
the
there
lock,
was another group that kept coming into our classroom and like unplugging all of the computers and
Oh, yeah,
everything.
that was
So
annoying.
I remember like
oh,
Miss Gladiator had to come in and fix it all and plug everything back in the right
Yeah.
spot.
and it was so
Yeah.
annoying because the computers, the monitors, and all the stuff, they were all on the floor. And I was like,
Yeah, for
what
some
the frick?
reason. I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
And
It
then
was,
K
Uh,
and then KG started bringing in her own markers because somebody kept
because
stealing our whiteboard markers.
yeah, and I kept
yeah.
them in this like box where yeah, people like kept like I kept this in this box where it has a lock in it and only I have the lock of it, so only like I can like open it during our classes, so sucks for everyone
Yeah.
else cuz and they were pretty good markers, not going to lie. They
Yeah,
were
they're
like
pretty good.
yeah, they had like ink and they weren't dying for yeah, for some reason every time like someone returns markers to the classroom,
They're
the
always
markers are
dying.
already dead. They
Oh
don't work
yeah, our
anymore.
school,
Weird.
and we had like a tally of all the every time something went wrong, we'd add to like the tally of problems.
Yep,
Oh my gosh. And then
totally.
the
And then
whole
they don't even know what that is.
yeah. And then the time when
Why is
they
that
put in a
there?
new lock in our door where we had to like put in a passcode in order to get in so
Oh
people
yeah.
don't have don't like keep going in because before our door didn't have a lock, which was already
Yeah,
like
I
a
do remember
terrible
that.
thing. And then because there was no lock, there was this person during class me and Tommy, we're just minding our own business, and then we see this person take rocks.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the classroom, there was like a set of like decorations where it's like rocks and then fake apples. Not
Yeah.
a real one, fake apples. And we were like, all right, fine. And then what happened was that, like, for some reason, she picked up a bunch of rocks
Yeah,
in
for
the middle
some
of class,
reason, that
and
was
we
a
were
bit too
like,
much. Right in front of
me
me,
and
too.
Insomnia, we were just like looking at her, and then like,
And we're in the middle of class. Like you can see
Yeah.
we're busy.
it's like, no, this isn't a meeting. This is an actual classroom
And
because
what wasn't like the wasn't Miss Gladiator there too, like all shocked, like what's
I
going
don't
I
on?
even
think
know.
it was Mr.
No, I think
Grass
it was
is
a
like,
different teacher.
yeah, Mr. I feel like it's either Mr. Grass or any of the
Mr.
male teachers.
Motivator?
Yeah, any of the male teachers that we had.
Okay.
It was like during because Miss Gladiator would have like kind of like asked her like
Awkward.
hello. She would have just been like hello. What are you doing?
Yeah.
She would have said something.
And then I was like, somehow, even though I was sitting right there, I like missed the whole thing because I guess I was absorbed in whatever we were watching. Or I don't know, but I just somehow missed a person walking in right in front of me and taking stuff and leaving.
Man,
And then I was just like,
ignore
and then
that.
I
It
was,
was like right there.
and then I was like, the next day, oh, where did all our stuff go?
Oh yeah, I think Ansonia was complaining like, oh my gosh, they took our rocks and our fake apples.
Like, why? Those
And we
are
were
mine,
like,
ours.
feels like this room was already like saddened up because of the glass and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the things that were making at least somewhat aesthetically pretty, they took it. They're like, all right, fine. They took our fake apples and rocks.
I do remember we were decorating the room.
Oh yeah,
for-
we had like Pixar quotes all around.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wasn't it
That's
in the
the only
original
thing.
room that we were in?
Yes.
Yeah, it was already in the original room, and then we decided, you know what, we're gonna spend this time like putting them up because why the hell not?
And wasn't that like our class time too? Like we spent like a class just fixing the room.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that
And I
was
don't know.
not doing actual classwork. That was fun to do. I don't know about you guys, but that was really fun
Yeah,
to
that
do.
was really fun. Yeah.
No,
What
I
was
was
it?
just like, oh no, I wanted to actually learn stuff.
Well, I'm kind of going. Was that $200 of tuition well spent?
That's so funny.
Oh my gosh. Can we talk about you ranting on about the school?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
the
all of
head
that happened at the end
the
of the
head
year.
the headmaster comes into our room, but he had like a baseball cap on and a t-shirt and shorts. He was like really casual, so I didn't recognize him. And I was getting like frustrated. So I just started ranting about all of the school's problems. And he's standing right there.
And
And,
then,
and everybody else like knew it was him, so they were all horrified. And then I do remember this moment of like dawning awareness of, well, like, oh wait a minute, is that the headmaster? But I was already like 75% into my rant, so it was like, well, I gotta finish it now.
yeah, I was horrified. I was like,
I was like, Noel.
it was
I was
giving
like
you a
looking at
look.
Noel, like Noel, stop talking. We were all like, stop talking. Like, stop talking, and we were so confused. Like,
In
why
our
do you
head.
want me to stop? I was like, because the headmaster's there.
And he didn't get mad at me. Like I actually did we got answers. Like
Yeah.
he like explained what was going on. So,
Yeah, that was funny.
but like I
It's
didn't
so
know
funny.
he like was carrying all these boxes too. Like you don't expect the headmaster to just be like all chill in like a baseball cap and shorts, just like carrying stuff around. Like
Yeah. By the way, this school was really chill because a lot of people also do that anyway. So yeah, we were all like freaking out and scared for
well,
you.
I remember there was like a lot of frustration among students. Not that anybody else like exploded in front of the headmaster, but
Yeah.
other people I remember saying like, I don't know what's going on. Like this is getting shady now.
Yes,
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on with the school, but other than that, we still, we still love the school
Yeah,
regardless.
and our teachers were fantastic. Like,
And
Yeah, they were great.
this is where there is no hate towards the school. It's just that there was a lot of problems that
Yeah, by the end of the
obviously is
year.
out of all our control at that point on, because
yeah,
I believe
it's
it was
mostly
literally
it was a case of things were disorganized and there wasn't good
And
communication.
some weird
Even like
drama happening.
because even the teachers didn't know what was going on half the time. So, like,
yeah,
I get it if you wouldn't tell the students everything, but the teachers, I feel, should have been more aware of what was going on. They should have communicated with the teachers better. But yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I think one of the teachers was like confused on one day, certain like one specific day where they, how like, yeah, we had our old room and they were going to like that room and they were confused too, like why we weren't there,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
we had no
One
way
of
of
them, like
contacting them other than like I think we had like, I think some we message on Messenger something, or we email them and like professionally, and yeah, that was funny. And then the only other thing that I was really upset about of the school is that they got rid of the website where you could check your marks.
oh
oh,
yeah,
And you had to
we
go in
always had
blind, and I
problems
was
with
like
that.
nervous because a lot of times where I had to call in sick, I was like afraid that like, oh my god, what if I like, because apparently, because attendance matters in your grades, and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
their
yeah,
attendance though actually was like really lenient because I remember the head saying at the beginning of the day like you could technically miss like 25 classes or something and still
Oh,
pass. Like
shoot.
it was
Interesting.
I don't think I was that big, but like I was like that
no,
was
no,
one
no,
thing I
I
was
yeah,
scared
no.
about.
You
Because,
only,
Yeah, that was the
I
one
guess
thing I
I
was
just
scared
took it
about when
seriously
when it
with
comes
that
to
one.
attendance. Like, frick, I missed like one day of class, and it
Mm.
wasn't like one day. It has to be actual classes, like
yeah,
actual classes, not just like that. Um,
yeah.
yeah.
But I felt
um,
bad because all of us forgot once to go to a field trip because it was in the morning. So I showed up at school and then remembered that there was a field trip. And Insomnia shows up at school too. And we're just standing there. And I think he even knew. He's like, "Oh yeah, I knew, but I just wanted to come into school and work on stuff instead." And Miss
Oh, yeah.
Gladiator was
I was the
Twilight.
only one
Twilight
there.
was the only one that went on that field
Yeah.
trip,
What
and we
was it?
felt
I
so
remember the
bad.
reaction. I remember. I was
Oh,
like, I woke up early in the morning, or more like half late, maybe. And then I was like, oh no, I need to hurry. I don't want to be late. And then when I got there, nobody's there, and I was like waiting for everyone to come in. And then
Really confused. Like, wait,
when
am
I
I?
got there, I was confused because apparently, yeah, she was the only one there. I was like, "Where's everybody?" I don't know. Where did everybody go? I was like, I don't know. And then, yeah, Miss Gladiator was like mad,
and I
and then
felt
she
really
waited.
bad because I
I
just
felt
like was
bad
on
too.
autopilot.
Yeah.
I
And
didn't
then,
mean
oh
to
yeah,
miss
I
it.
remember.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
felt bad because one time I was supposed to go on a field trip. We had a field trip, but I forgot to mention that I couldn't go because
Hmm.
my parents couldn't pick me up because they had their own thing at the same time. So
Oh.
she was kind of low-key mad at me for not going, and I felt so bad because I straight up had to tell her in front of like, I think
Yeah.
I was with like either Noelle or Twilight when I told her, and then they were just looking at me. It's like, oh my god, I'm sorry for you. Like,
Like the other field trips I managed to get to, but yeah, I felt bad about that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like one of our fields that we had. We were allowed to drink. Obviously, we're all of the age to drink at the time. So,
Yeah.
well, at the time, we are still at the age of we can drink. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah, I remember we were at the that I've just remembered something from we did something called the cold reading series
Yeah, I remember.
and they let us read our scripts and I remember I got a drink and I was like made Miss Gladiator laugh because I'm like, okay, I got some social juice.
I
'Cause
remember.
yeah.
I
okay,
remember that one time when I couldn't even finish my beer, and then
oh yeah,
it's the end. I was like, I don't want to carry this, so I'm just gonna chug it. And then Miss Gladiator laughed at me because I was like, wow, I chugged that whole thing.
yeah. I
I
think
was
I
like,
don't like
sorry, I
beer.
just don't want to bring it with me.
Yeah, I don't drink beer because I don't like the
Yeah.
taste.
Yeah, and I
I
hated it.
understand.
That
And
was the
it's
worst thing
wine.
I've ever drank.
Oh
I
yeah,
couldn't
no.
get this.
Expensive option and drank wine because
Yeah,
wine is
I hate wine too.
I
Like
don't like wine or beer. It has to be vodka. It has to taste like pop.
oh my god,
yeah,
it has to
I
taste
guess
like pop.
vodka is like a
And
thing
then
that I
yeah.
drink.
And then I remember one on our the night that we had people read our scripts when they called me up. I felt so upset because I was trying my best. I was trying to speak up, and the person in the back's like saying louder, and like, I tried going louder, and she's like louder, and I'm like, I would have. I'm like thinking in my head, like, God, I want to beat this woman up because like I'm like.
And I felt bad because they'd edited my script, but I printed the wrong version, so they did all that work for nothing. So I
Oh yeah,
looked bad. And
Oh my
yeah, I
gosh.
remember my experience with that cold reading. Where what was it? They asked us to just print 10 pages of our story, and for me, I didn't really get the memo. Or well, I did. It's just that I didn't know how many pages I gave, and apparently, I gave the whole script. And then the lady who was in charge of that whole cold reading got mad at me. I was like, did you give us the 10? I'm sorry. And then so she had to say, oh, okay, that's it. She has to cut it right there because
Oh
I
yeah,
messed up.
right. I was like,
yeah, I
I
just
remember.
felt so bad
I remember
when I
I
messed.
was I remember I was an idiot because I didn't
Um,
know that we had to print our own. I think all of us didn't know that we had to print our own stuff,
yeah.
and it was a struggle. And I felt bad that I had to ask Noelle to help
Oh,
with the
that's
print.
right.
Oh
Oh yeah, because
yeah.
All three of us.
my parents own a shop, and next door is a print store, so we all had to like we had to go to my parents' shop, and then we had to go next door and all print off our scripts at
Yeah.
once.
Yeah,
It's
it
kind
was
of a
like
nightmare.
it was a nightmare. Other than that, your food was great. By the way,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I
The
loved
cake
eating
was
your
great.
pastries. They were good. At least
Yeah.
like
Oh,
they was the only thing that was making the day like somewhat easier. And it's like
Yeah.
I just want to fatten up so I can like forget about the
birthday
burger.
because of the cake. I was like, I want my
Can I
cake
get
now.
like a food coma so like I can just forget? And then the struggle was like getting to the venue in the first place because one we were like, oh, we did me. I think me and Twilight haven't like gone from like one place that wasn't our own homes to a
Yeah.
venue. So
Yeah.
yeah, or at least like from the school and such,
That's
right?
true.
And it was like
Man,
it
I
was hard.
missed your donuts
Yeah, I missed your cakes. They're
and the
great.
cake.
Sorry, we're just like you're just like complimenting Noelle's like um like
Oh,
store.
it's still there. You guys could visit it
Oh
still.
yeah.
I
I'll
know,
try to
but like
remember where it is. I'm
we
sorry,
don't
I
want
forgot.
like we don't want to pandemic and stuff,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yeah,
you and
right.
your family safe. So other than that, but yeah. Anyways, back to our what our scripts and stuff. We
Yeah,
had
we had some in our scripts. We had some good characters in there.
and
Oh
Well,
these
yeah.
Insomnia had some of the best characters because he came up with the script. Well, we were supposed to purposely write a really bad script for an
Yeah.
exercise. We had to make it bad on purpose.
Yeah.
So Insomnia came up with something called cocaine slugs,
oh my
and
god.
the star of that story was named Jamarcus. And
Oh yeah,
basically,
I do
Jamar
remember.
and he
Yeah.
kind of talked like Winnie the Pooh because he was like, "Oh bother."
Also, he's really high all the time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And then apparently the story just suddenly went to space, literally, and it was like, what happened?
Oh my gosh, do you remember? Insomnia has like the best characters of writing. Not gonna
Oh
lie.
yeah. So he had
Remember?
like
Yeah.
this guy named Carl,
Carl, yes.
and
Carl,
all of his children's names were like all
every
variations of Carl. So they were
Carl,
like Carlos and what were
Carlo. I mean,
Carly,
Carl. I don't know. And then there's one that's
Carlos,
not Carl.
there was like an eighth child that's like named Alfonso, I think it was, and
Alfonso.
And then and then Carl frowns upon that one child because he doesn't have his name.
It's so funny
or
and
oh my gosh.
random.
Mhm.
Do you remember in the cold reading that we did? It was Insomnia script. So we didn't understand what was the context of the script at all. And
We didn't know why everybody was laughing when
yeah,
this
so there was a
character.
character in the script called Single Woman, and everyone was just dying laughing, and we were just laughing along because I thought it was
Because
just
we don't
because
even know what's
people thought it
happening.
was just really funny, like that he made a character that's called Single Woman. But then later, I think Miss Gladiator had to explain to us what was going on. It's because the lady was apparently like she announced that she apparently has like bad relationships with a lot of like people, or she's not
She
like
just recently became single.
she just announced that, you know what, I'm gonna stay single forever. And then when she ended up being a character in Insomnia script called Single Woman. And I'm just like, oh. And then and then afterwards I think we all found it so funny because like also we also felt bad about it because
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
that's fun.
fun fact, in that code reading, when they were doing my script, Miss Gladiator's boyfriend was one of the characters that I wrote. He's basically like a demon, a shadow demon, whatever.
Oh
And for
yeah,
some
that's
reason,
great.
it read really good. It was like, dang, you actually got the character down. And it was,
Yeah,
and he said that like, oh, he thought the character was super cool, and I was really happy because
that's great.
yeah.
Yeah, well, you had a lot of good characters too, because we did another project where you came up with this guy called Spike, and the context.
Oh, yeah. The script was basically in context. The script was our so we were doing like a video or at least like a web series type of thing with Mr. Grass. And so what we did was that we basically just wrote whatever we did. And then so I came up with the idea of like, you know what, why not make a like a rip on like those like dramatic like series. And so I decided to make a series where every day, every episode it's like a horror like a situation. And all these characters are freaking tropes of like characters in horror movies, except for this one character, which is everyone's favorite, apparently.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's
And
because
just Spike was like this guy that wanted to die because they all knew that was the whole thing with the show was somebody was always going to die, and he was
yeah.
the one character that actually wanted to. So he's like really miserable, but he started off like smoking, and it progressed to he has a bong.
Yeah, and then I
yeah,
forgot.
that's pretty funny.
And then at the end, he ends up with like a hookah. We don't know what it is. We don't know what it is. It's like a giant like smoke thing, like where people like share, and it's like this giant like thing. But if you can look it up, anyways.
It would just it would just like pop into existence. Like the shot would go back to Spike, and suddenly he has a hookah.
Just like a hookah, and then like yeah, and then you were like, where do you keep getting these? And then yeah, I made like a joke where like a crew member was like on set giving him like away. It's like
That's hilarious. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And then I think in the second one, because we made like a second episode like to the web series script that we did.
Oh yeah.
And I think there was this one character that I also like made who was like who was named Destiny because she was like she was like the new girl like stereotype. Well she
Oh yeah.
and so and then all of that she and Spike for some reason had like a bonding moment where like they started like also like contemplating and smoking together too.
Oh yeah.
And
Makes
yeah,
sense though,
yeah,
because
that was
she's
funny.
new.
Yeah, that was funny.
Uh, we
Yeah,
also had you had a character. I always forget the character's name, but it was like this in your feature script where the guy was trying to sound cool, so he named himself 001.
oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh yeah,
It
that
was
guy.
for my feature script where it's like a spy but like mixed with supernatural and like demons and whatnot. And then there's this like this assassin, this like made up assassin that I made up that was supposed to kill the main character, but it didn't work out because he was lame, and the fact that he wasn't even that's like that was like his name that I didn't care so much to the point where I didn't want to give him a name, so I just gave him numbers.
But that became like the joke. It was like 00149, and she's like, "Don't you have a real name?"
Like, what's your real name? I was like, no, that is my name. I'm like, oh my gosh, they didn't even give you a chance, did they?
Yeah, that's
Because
funny.
right? And
Yeah.
that was a joke. Obviously, I don't know if anything will be funny, but like whatever. Um, we haven't really talked about our feature like teacher, Mr. Motivator, that
Oh
much.
yeah, we
There
haven't.
was
I
yeah,
mean, yeah.
yeah, like all of the feature stuff that we like talk about. It's all like we did it in his class, and a lot of the times that we like were like working in this class, a lot of it was like format and watching. We also like not just like for like when we had like our Friday movies. We also like did watch movies on
Oh
like
yeah.
other days anyway, and we just do it just to learn stuff.
And
And
I remember we again like the critic in Insomnia had like some of the best reactions because I remember we were watching one movie and I just see the critic's arms fly up because he's just getting exasperated with it.
Oh
And
yeah.
I just keep seeing his arms fly up because he's
yeah,
getting mad. and,
oh
and
my
then
god,
and I remember then too, we were like watching, I think it was Jaws, and as the guy
Oh
was like
yeah.
getting
I
eaten,
didn't like that movie.
I just hear Insomnia like laughing while the guy's getting eaten.
oh yeah, I think we were all like I think for some
Man.
reason wasn't into the idea of us watching Jaws because I hate shark movies in general.
Oh.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
I
so,
don't
but
like
then
shark
like this
movies
one,
either.
it was like,
In a
oh my
different
god,
for a different reason.
yeah,
I, I I actually like Jaws, but
Mm.
it's just
Yeah.
funny. I'm sitting there and I hear as this guy's getting eaten, I just hear behind me Insomnia going doing that sort of like laugh. I just keep hearing it behind me.
I
I
know.
think it was because it was such a fake scream that like it wasn't like fake, it wasn't like real scream. Like
Well,
it's not scary.
it was the 70s, right? It was like the
Yeah, I guess
effects
so.
and
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
I guess
I
the only thing
remember.
I praise with that movie is, how they didn't show the shark, I guess. But
Oh
honestly, I don't
yeah,
like it
they didn't
anyways.
show the shark for majority of. We actually also watched a documentary on the movie Jaws, which is pretty
Oh yeah.
cool
It's
about like
pretty
how
funny.
they barely showed the shark because it always keeps malfunctioning and
yeah,
it
there
was
was a lot of problems on that
Yeah, it
movie.
fell
Like,
apart or something.
apparently it was like a movie that wasn't even supposed to like happen in general.
well, they
Yeah.
like first off, they like started shooting it with only half the script written. The fact that it ended up being a good movie at the time was like a miracle because it was complete chaos when they were making it. So I don't know how they had managed to like put together this movie when there was just so many problems.
Right.
Yeah, which is pretty
Sorry.
interesting. I guess that's like a thing to think about.
But that seems like another video topic. Everything that went wrong on Jaws.
Oh my gosh.
I
Um,
would like to experience that in our, attempt at being a PA, hopefully,
right.
if we get to be in one.
Do we have any
Yes.
other like stories about any of our teachers? I remember there's a lot of stories that we have
Oh,
about
yeah.
our classmates.
Well, I remember the critic. We watched the Dirk Gently show, and again, it wasn't really to the critic's taste. And he was just
Yeah.
like, he couldn't remember Dirk Gently's name, so he's just called him Crim Bumbly.
Come on.
He's like, "Oh, I didn't get that show with Mister Crim Bumbly or whatever his name was."
First time we were like confused. I'm like, what are you talking about? And we're like, oh,
Crim Bumbly.
Crim Bumbly.
That's
Oh,
hilarious.
that is a show that's like I barely remember, but I remember liking it for
Oh, I
I don't
whatever.
liked it,
remember,
Yeah, I liked it
honestly.
too.
but he didn't.
My
He
memory
did,
sucks.
obviously. I remember. Oh my gosh, do you remember when I think there was a show that I liked at the time a lot called Ruby,
Oh,
and he
yeah,
also
Ruby.
was also a fan of Ruby, and to the point where he let me borrow his DVD, which is like, oh, okay, cool. And then I never watched it. Sorry, critic, if you're listening for some reason, but I always keep forgetting to return it every time, and he's always mentioning to me like, "Oh yeah, I've returned DVD. I've let friends borrow DVDs, but I never get them back." So,
Oh,
and
yeah.
by the way, he doesn't live in our area at the time. He lived somewhere else. So either way, if I didn't give it back, he's going to have to go home empty-handed without his DVD. And I felt bad.
Oh,
And
that
I'm like,
would
okay,
suck.
I need to return it, and I always keep forgetting it until like he actually does have to leave. And as soon as I had one time I did bring back his DVD, but he wasn't there. And then I'm like, no, I need to bring it back. And then when he does go, he's like, finally, here, take this
Yeah,
DVD.
didn't you have to like keep carrying it around in your bag until he showed up?
Oh, yeah.
That was like so bad, and I hated it. And I'm like, oh
That's
my
so funny.
gosh. And yeah, it was an interesting experience. Um, other than I don't know any other stories that we can say.
I guess
Other,
we could conclude with how our graduation went and the
Oh,
speeches.
yeah. I mean,
spoilers, it didn't happen. We never spoke about like
we
anything.
never spoke.
And I think it was kind of my fault because Miss Gladiator first asked me if I wanted to give the speech, but I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make it or not, and I wasn't able to give her a for sure answer until the day before, so I couldn't make it to the graduation. So she was like, "Oh, can you guys do the speech?" And then you guys were like, what? We have to do a
Yeah,
speech?"
I remember being really upset about that. I was like, "Wait, what?
Yeah,
I'm
right.
not
And
even prepared."
it was so awkward because it was only me and Twilight that ended up being at the graduation, and
Yeah.
everyone else was not there. Um,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, because Insomnia went to France to start another
Yeah.
course. He like left the country, and
Mhm.
and
And,
then
Uh,
the critic was all this time was an audit
yeah,
from Toronto,
yeah,
and then so he didn't really get to graduate with us.
you're right.
So,
And
yeah.
then, like you said, Noel, that you had to actually be somewhere on the day of graduation. So
yeah,
it was only me and Twilight, and it was awkward because a lot of the classrooms was like full, and then just the two of us. Like, why are there only like two Asian kids in like the writers'
Yeah, just
and
2
the
Asian
Asian
kids
kids
just
and just
being
two Asian
in
kids in the
screenwriting class
screenwriting.
alone. What happened to the other 3
It's like,
people
did
there?
they all drop out? I'm like, no, not all of us dropped out. I swear.
Yeah, I swear.
But yeah, and then yeah, Miss Gladiator had to do our speech. Again, she's like really great, and not just her, but all our other teachers were
Yeah,
super
our
great.
teachers are great.
Yeah,
Like, there are hard times, but they were great
they were
times.
great. They made the school year like durable in those times
Yeah,
of like
by the
confusion with what's
by the
happening
end
with
of
the
that
school and such,
year
the
was really
dramas
happy.
and all the weird scandals and stuff that happened with it.
Yes,
oh
And
yeah, like the school getting broken into.
oh
That's-
yeah,
Oh,
right. Oh my god.
yeah.
How did we not like go back go on to that?
Oh, I
For
don't know, I wasn't there and I didn't even experience it properly.
should I tell the story cuz I was the one there or
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so when I okay, it was like another daily like thing at school where like stuff happened. And so when I went up, I noticed that the door there was glass on the floor and there was a hole in the door. You get
Oh,
and then
wow.
there was the and then the al and then I think the alarm was already on when I went up, and I didn't wanna, like, stay at the door because it might look suspicious, so I ended up just waiting at the front door outside the school, and it was so, like, awkward because, I'm pretty sure, above the school, there was another company that was, like, on top, which is I think it was, like, a Wi-Fi, s company, I don't know, don't quote me on that, but that yeah, that
I
happened.
never knew.
Yeah. And then, yeah, that happened, and apparently someone was trying to break in. Luckily, they didn't take anything, like anything like precious or expensive. So, and I honestly don't think they would have been able to take stuff because one, a lot of stuff are like I don't know, like really like stuck to the wall. So
Mhm.
they can't really steal anything. So and
Yep.
I'm pretty sure most of the classrooms are locked except for ours, I believe. So
Yeah, but there's nothing in there, so
yeah, other than the monitors and the shitty
yeah.
TV that we had,
Uh,
but
and the apples they stole.
Oh yeah, and the apples too. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
But yeah, what happened was every day the door would be locked, and if the person with the keys didn't come earlier, because we tended to arrive like an hour before school started, so what would happen is in the stairwell there you'd end up with this like big clump of students just sitting there waiting.
oh yeah.
Right, and speaking of the person with the keys, every time, whenever sometimes it's usually weeks or like or like days, they always change the person at the front desk all the time.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, I
I
remember
just
that.
remembered something. The animation students had a class where they had to draw a nude sitter, and we sent her to go get chairs. And of course, she ends up walking into this class with a
Oh
naked
Oh my
person.
yeah.
god!
And
When was
the critic did like the same thing where he like opened the classroom door to ask a question because he was like, "Oh, what could possibly go wrong?" And he looks in the classroom and then he closes the door and he's like, "Okay, we're going now." That
I
was
think
not a good idea.
I think that was like the running joke was like we have to be like, okay, can we? And we were like, hey, is there a naked person in this room? Like, just be like, is there a naked person in this room? Just checking so that we don't get like flashed.
I'm glad I never got to
I think
experience
it's
that.
the only like it was the critic and the poor girl that had to get us one chair. I think that was happening. I think they did that class for like a while. I don't know. I have to
Well,
ask.
they finally put like a sign on the door that said like
Warning,
nude
warning,
nude thing in session, don't come in.
don't come in.
Nude sketch session.
That is so funny though. At least they had a warning about it. So yeah. In that classroom that they did it in, they also changed it into an audition room, by the way. So that's
Oh yeah.
that's one thing that happened. But yeah, yep. Those
All
are our
right.
stuff. Those are all our
Anything
school
else?
stuff. At least the ones that we can like say at the moment right now.
I still remember being frustrated by the end, especially with the scripts, man.
All right, yeah, that's true. Like there was like it wasn't like all like dandy and stuff. Did
Oh
also
yeah.
have we all had struggles with our own scripts. Like there was like one time where sometimes I just didn't want to do it,
Oh yeah.
and I would
True.
probably get a really shitty grade. But yeah,
I
whatever.
don't even know what
I
my
don't know,
grade is.
but yeah, I don't remember anymore. So, right.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's, anyways, thanks for listening into our special podcast that we actually
Yeah.
talked about writing stuff, kind of, but not
Yeah, for
really.
once.
For once, an actual story about writing.
Thank you for
Yay.
listening.
Yeah, thank you. And that's it.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Please
Right.
like and subscribe.
Like and
Later.
subscribe. Heart. There you
Bye.
go.
Bye.
Bye.
Hard.
Hello, everyone. This is Noelle, and welcome back to the Writer's Corner. Today, we're going to be discussing our college, where we took
I
screenwriting.
don't.
There was a lot of drama.
Fudge.
Twilight. Twilight.
I can't hear anyone.
Hello?
Hello, Twilight?
Twilight, where'd you go? No.
Oh, dear.
No. Oh my god. No.
Oh, no. She